I'm going to go ahead and start recording and we will get started. So is everyone seeing the NEOGOV dashboard screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So some of this is going to be a refresher for people who have done this in years past. Other people, I know that it is new for you. So I am going to kind of give you a high-level overview of NEOGOV. It is our performance management system that we use. It's also our online hiring center that we use. So when you log in to NEOGOV, you should land on this dashboard page. This is the unified dashboard. And this allows you access to the different sides of NEOGOV that we use. So on the left-hand side, it's the navigational pages over here. Performance obviously is for performance management. Recruiting is for any open positions that you may have. And then the dashboard itself has the front and center here, the tasks that you have due. So for your employees, for anyone who has 12-month employees, their evaluations will go live on May 15th, and they will get an email that says that the evaluation for Megan Stoner is due for self-rating, something to that effect. Click here to log in. So they're going to log in and it will give them this similar dashboard. And it'll have the task listed for what they need to complete. So right now I am logged in as a test manager. So on May 15th, as a supervisor, you will also receive emails for each of your direct reports that says the evaluation for your employee is available for you to complete. So the evaluation process is step by step, and it goes kind of back and forth through different parties involved. So I'm going to pull up the process here, and I'm going to find my controls again. There we go. New screen share. Okay, so the evaluation process really has three parties involved. It's the employee who is being evaluated, their supervisor, which is their first line leader, and then their second line leader, which is their supervisor's supervisor. So when the evaluations go live, the first step in the process is that the employees are supposed to complete their self-rating. And to do that, what they are assessing is how they have completed their goals for the year. So if they're a new employee that started after last year's evaluations were completed, the goals will have to be entered manually. But if they have had previous evaluations, the goals will pull in from previous year's evaluations. So they'll go in, they'll see that they have a task assignment to do to complete their self-rating, and the system will require that they complete their self-rating on their goals only. It gives them the option to complete their self-rating on their competencies, but it is not required that they complete the rating on the competencies, only on the goals. The second step in the process that actually kind of occurs simultaneously is you'll receive a task alert when the evaluation goes live that it's open for you to do your evaluation of the employee. And you will then rate them on their goals and their competencies. Once the employee has completed their self-rating, the system will send you an email letting you know that that has been completed. And then once you've completed your portion, it will send a task assignment or task email to your supervisor so that they can review the evaluation, make any comments. If they want to reject it and send it back because they feel like something needs to be added or removed, they can do that. And then they'll have the approval, they'll sign off on it. Once they've signed it, it will send it back to you, and you will receive a task email that says that you should meet with the employee to review the evaluation. You do not want to mark that task as complete until you have met with the employee to go over the evaluation, because it does, as soon as you mark that complete, it does release it to them. So you want to make sure that you're reviewing it with them and that they're aware that what is going to be in there. It shouldn't be any great surprise, but sometimes employees read their evaluation and they may not be happy with it if they haven't had a chance to even talk to you about it. That's kind of why we put that in there, so that it's a reminder step that you review it with them and then release it to them by signing off on it. And then the last step of the evaluation is that they sign it. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the demo evaluation, just so you can kind of see there are some new steps that the system put in place this year. We're not necessarily using them, but it may look a little bit different, so I do want to point those out. But when you log in, you'll get the email to review your tasks, and you'll want to go to your dashboard, and then all your tasks will be listed here. In the demo environment, I just have one employee that reports to this supervisor, but you'll have multiple. Once you click on whomever you're working on, it will redirect you to that evaluation for that employee. So this evaluation template is filled out automatically. Like I said, the goals from the last year will pull in here. This employee has 3 goals. Usually we say 3 to 5 goals per year, but it is at your discretion how many goals that you should have for the employee. And if you'll notice on the left-hand side here, the different sections, these are all the sections of the evaluation itself. There's the current employee goals, the competencies, creation of future goals, and then their overall rating. And the other thing to note here is the little red alert icon. So nothing has been completed here. And as we go through this, you'll see that this does change when the items are complete. So we're just going to walk through this evaluation for this employee. We'll pull up their first goal. For the demonstration purposes, this goal is blank other than a title, but generally you'll have a goal title, and then underneath here, right kind of above where it says fields are required, it will have the details and specifics of the goal. But we'll just say for goal number 3, we'll say it was partially met. And the comment section then becomes outlined in red, which indicates that it is a requirement that you put comments in. For here, I'm just going to put something so that we can walk through it together. Once you've completed your rating and your comment, you can click next. One other thing to note, the system does automatically save. So if you get interrupted and you need to come back to it, you can just close out. And if we're going back to the front page of the evaluation, you can see what I did for the first goal has recorded here. It's no longer outlined in red. And if I want to skip around, I can go to goal number 1 and address that one, and then put in my comments and click next, or click previous, click close, whichever I want to do. But if you'll see, then no longer outlined in red for goal number 1. So I'm just going to do goal number 2. We'll say that goal was met. Put in my comments. Goal number 1 again. And after you've gone through all the goals, the system will navigate you to the next step in the performance process, which is the competencies. So for the competencies, the rating scale is a little bit different. We have insufficient, developing, applying, proficient, and role model. And there are bullet points that are listed here that outline how these competencies are demonstrated. But it's the same sort of thing. You'll put in your rating of the employee. You are required to enter comments here and just click next to go to the next one. And we'll go through all of these just so I can show you what the system is doing. Again, so I closed out of it just to show you. Back on the front page, now we completed all our goals, or we reviewed all our goals, so there's a check mark there now. And then we're on the competency section, and you'll see here the ones that have been completed are no longer outlined in red. So the system does that automatic save for us and walks us through each step, but you can do it out of order if you so choose, but it does walk you through. So I'm just gonna keep going here. Okay. So the next step after the goals and competencies have been rated is the creation of future goals. This is a little bit different from years past. So it has us on the front page of the evaluation, and on the right-hand side, it has add item. And you can either do new goal, or you could actually select from employee goals. It does have the choice from library, and there are some generic goals that the system has built into it, but we don't generally use those because our goals are usually specific to the employees themselves. But if you have an employee who had a goal for fiscal year 24 and they didn't complete it, and you want to carry it over into fiscal year 25, you can select from employee goals, and that'll be something that you can pull forward, and it will actually go back to all their previous year's goals. So that is something that is new for this year that they added in. But generally speaking, we add item, we do a new goal, and we'll put in the goal title. And you can be specific. You don't have to be generic and number it and name it like this. But the goal type, that is a non-editable field. The goal due date, that is something you can edit. It's not required, but if you want to make it for next June 30th, you could do that. Or if it's something that might be at the end of the fall semester, you can put the due date there. The category, this is a drop down. It's either department plan or strategic plan. And then our description, you'll want to put the details of what the goal is in here. Below that are additional settings and reminder settings. We don't really fool with those, so you can just skip past those. And once you've entered in the information, just click next. This is where it's the new steps have been put in here. We don't have any parent goals set up with our setup with Perform. So for this, we're just going to skip it. And then same with milestones. We have not established any milestones within the system. So I would mark that as a no and then click save. In years past, those last two steps weren't there. It was just create the goal and save it. This year, they did add a couple other things in here, but we have not set that up within the overall system. So just skip past those. Like I mentioned, if you have multiple goals, you would just add them in here. But for this purpose, we're just going to skip that. We're going to give this person one goal, and then we're going to go to the next section, and it's our overall rating. And this is again a different rating scale, but it is still verbiage as opposed to numbers, which we have been doing for a couple of years now. So it's significant improvement needed, some improvement needed, meets expectations, highly meets expectations, and exceeds expectations. And just like every other step on the performance evaluation, you do the rating and then you add your comments. And once you're finished that, you can close it out. And now everything has the alert gone and has a check mark. If you'd like to see it as a whole, you can click summary and it'll show you at a glance of each of your ratings and your comments for the employee. So you can go back and change anything if you'd like. But at this point, with everything being checked off, now our submit evaluation button is green and it is operable. So you can click that. And once you have submitted, or once you hit submit evaluation, it'll say, are you certifying that you want to do this? It'll have your name here. Do you wish to continue? And you hit continue. And then when it says it's been submitted, at that point is when it goes to your manager and they review it and make any comments and sign it and send it back. Sometimes I've had people in years past that they have hit submit and then they're like, oh, I forgot I wanted to add another goal, or I forgot to put in a certain description on their competency or whatever. If that happens, just send me an email and I can unlock the evaluation and take it back from the step that it's on and put it back to the previous step so that you can go in and edit it again. But so just don't fret if that happens, because I've had people freaking out in years past, but it's a pretty simple thing. I can undo it, put it back in your hands, and then you can fill out what you need to and then resubmit it. So that is the process as a whole. It really hasn't changed too much from year to year. They just added those couple steps for the future goals. What questions do you guys have for me?
I got a quick question.
Mhm.
Can you walk us through the timeline for starting first task on through the completion date, if you could, Megan?
Sure. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, perfect. It's on here. So let me do a new share. There we go. So the due dates for 12-month employees, they go live on May 25th, and they have 10 days to complete their self-rating. At which point, if they haven't done it within those 10 days, they'll just start getting reminder notices from the system and say your self-rating is past due, please complete it. Then the evaluation or your rating and your future goals creating for the employee, that is due on June 8th. Then your supervisor has another 10 days to review and approve it. And then at that point, it kicks it back to you so that you have then 12 days to review it and sign off on it with the employee. These dates are what the system has set up because we have to put dates in there. But there are times, obviously some people don't get to them in the same time frame, but the system will just send you reminders, or you might do it earlier. So if the employee gets their notification on the 15th, they just go in, they rate themselves, and then they're done. And then you can do your rating and you might get it done earlier too, and then send it to your supervisor, and then they have a little bit more time frame to review and sign too.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I actually have one.
Okay.
Is it encouraged to avoid, it's going to sound silly, but to avoid doing a negative review for an employee? I know sometimes there's can be some stipulation with that where the employee can turn around and say it was more of an aggravated review system.
I would say no. I mean, obviously you want to be honest but be tactful with it. But the other thing with performance evaluations is that we definitely recommend that anything on an evaluation should not be news to an employee. Hopefully you've already been having conversations with them if there are performance issues and that they know that they should be working on them, because you don't want someone who hasn't been communicated to all year long and they think they're doing everything just right, and then they get their evaluation and it's like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that and I don't know why you work here. No, I'm just kidding. But like, they don't want to be surprised by it. It should be something that they are aware of. So if there is something that is kind of on the negative side of things, it could be the conversation, you know, we've had discussions with Ken, and he is supposed to be doing this and he has shown some improvement or is still working to or has not shown improvement. So those, just have the honest feedback in there.
I had a couple questions.
Okay.
After all signatures, I've already done a 9-month.
Mhm.
Where do I see it after she signs it?
After the employee?
Yeah, is it in?
Yeah, so let me go here and
Because I didn't see it, but maybe I need to check in again. I didn't get prompted or anything, so.
so you won't get prompted when they've done it, or once they've signed it. But what you can do is go to that employee's profile. So I'm just going to start like as being logged in as this manager. So now that I did my evaluation, if you'll notice, my task is gone. But you can get to your people a couple of different ways. So you should have your team on your dashboard here, or on the left-hand side, you can go to people there. But for this employee, I'm going to just click on this name because, like I said, this manager only has one. But when you click on them, it takes you to their profile, and then it should take you over to performance, or I'm sorry, you should have a choice to click on performance here, and then you should be able to see their evaluations. So because this is a demo system, some of I haven't completed these in years past, but you can click over and find the ones that have been completed.
Great. And I had one other
Mhm.
that I have a new person who reports to me and I'm wondering exactly how to get the goals up there.
Okay, so yes, let's go back kind of the same place. Nope. See, this is new for me too because they changed it. Let's see. No, that's not. That is a good question. I don't know where it went. Okay, so I was on my dashboard, I clicked performance, and then I clicked goals. And then it has the add new goal on the right-hand side of the page. And you can enter it there, but I'm thinking this might just be a goal for you. So let me click on my team's goals and add new goal. I'm gonna have to look at this, Kathy. So if you add new goal there, let me just. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm in the right place. So yeah, under my team's goals, you would enter it as add new goal. And initially it doesn't have who it's assigned to. So you would put in all the information, but then it gives you the assignee. If you're doing it for yourself, you click here, it'll fill in your name. But if you're doing it for your employee, it'll give you a drop down for you to select which employee it would apply to.
That's great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have one more question, and
Okay.
and this is kind of global, and I don't know if it's appropriate to ask, because, I mean, if this is the right place to ask. Strategic versus department level goal, like retention and things like that, are kind of strategic. But I always put department level, and I can probably just ask Paige that, but I'm just wondering if it's ever good to do strategic over department, and when, and whether.
Yeah, I would say that's something just kind of within your department to determine how to do it. As far as on our side of things, we don't necessarily we don't drill down into that, whether it's strategic or department necessarily. And it's more of a personal preference as far as the departments go and how they look at it.
Okay, thanks a lot. That's all.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you guys run into any hiccups or anything like that, as always, please reach out to me. And if I don't know, I will figure it out. But I know this is something, I say this every year. I'm in NEOGOV every day, so it's very familiar to me. You guys do this once a year, and maybe a little bit more if you do any hiring actions. But I know that it's not the most user-friendly or most intuitive system, I should say. So if you run into any issues, let me know and I will be happy to help you out with it. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope you have a good rest of your Wednesday.
Thanks, Megan.